Hi everybody! Today's pick a card is featuring a spread called the Energy Suck spread that addresses where you're putting too much mental effort into, how you can be grounded, what would be a positive thing to focus on, and how you can refocus. And the deck that I am using is quite unusual. At least I haven't seen it yet in any readings that I have attended. This is the back of the cards. It's called Divine Dog Wisdom. And the idea is that dogs have so much to teach us. They're not afraid to ask us to meet their needs. They don't wonder if they're going to be too pushy. They don't mind just doing what they feel like. They want to lay around fine. They want to bark fine. And probably more important, dogs love unconditionally. They love us no matter how we look. They love us no matter how we act. You know, they are, to me, the epitome of unconditional love. Excuse me. I didn't mean to choke up on that one. And so there is a lot of wisdom, I have to say, in this deck. So take a moment to figure out which pile appeals to you. I started out with another deck in here and decided I was going to limit it just to this one. This one just feels right for this spread. You may have the number coming into your head. There may be something about the color of the number card. You can go to all sorts of lengths to pick out your pile, but I recommend you just go on your first instinct and stay with it, because if we take too long to think about it, then we're kicking it into our logic or our ego, and we start debating, do I like that teal color on the end, or do I prefer that more blue, no green number? It just gets so complicated that you've lost your instinct. You're not listening to your spirit guide anymore, for sure. You just put it into the overthinking monkey brain. That's just my thought, that with psychic input or intuition, instinct, whatever you like to call it, first impression is usually what you should stay with, because when we start thinking about it too much, it usually is not a satisfying choice, and we find ourselves kicking ourselves and saying, wow, why didn't I go with my first instinct? Anyway, as with any of these, if what you hear resonates with you, that is awesome. Take it on. If it doesn't resonate with you, discard it. It doesn't have to be all or nothing either. But if you feel like this pile is not for you, and I've done that, then go pick another pile, or just figure because it's a general reading and can't cover everyone that this particular reading is not for you. So I'm going to pause this and set up for pile 1. I'll see you there. If you picked pile 2, this is your first card, which represents what you are wasting mental effort on. The card is Joker, as you can see. If you fetch this card, you may be experiencing an unplanned interruption, an unexpected situation, or an unwanted circumstance. But perhaps what you think is happening is not as it seems. Yes, for you there's nothing normal or funny about it. The flow of your life is interrupted by a prairie dog joker nibbling away at your old sense of reality. The joker can throw a stick on the path, tripping you up, tangling you in your leash, moving your food bowl, or leaving you feeling as if you're in a lockdown kennel. And let me turn off my speakers. I don't know why I can't remember this. Oi, 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 every time I start to record, suddenly things get busy. The Joker burrows in and sets up shop in your doghouse when you get attached to a plan, an outcome, a belief, a perspective, or a story, to such a degree that you lose sight of your truth, clarity, integrity, purpose, authenticity, and even your identity. The Joker's real purpose is to serve your highest good, because his interruption gives you a choice to do something different. It can cause you to pause, P-A-W-S, and reflect on what is not working in your life and is out of order. He lets you know it's time to come out of the dark den and into the light, to reassess and reconnect with what you really need. It's time to ask questions and be curious. The key is to figure out how to have fun and to play with the situation without taking yourself too seriously, because curiosity and play will allow you to expand into solutions for yourself and everyone. So what you are spending or wasting too much mental effort on is probably trying to figure out why the hell something happened that has totally thrown a wrench in the plans that you had. And it may be that the plans you had were not for your highest good, and so the universe has decided, let's slow this person down, let's allow them to reassess, let's give them the opportunity to see that maybe they have lost sight of what they really want. They're trying to attain something that is really the agenda of someone else. And you know that someone else could be who you have been presenting yourself as, but who is not your authentic you. I mean, we all do that. We meet someone and we think that they want us to be this or that way, and we maybe subconsciously, maybe sometimes consciously change ourselves, and suddenly what they want is what we want, and we're trying to please them actually, but that kind of escapes our notice. It could be that this is divine timing. This could be the divine going, wait up there. We know this isn't you. We know this isn't going to serve you. Just take another look. Make sure this is what you really want. But you know, really, when it comes down to it, if the divine is involved, if this is about divine timing, we don't have any control over that, and so spending any mental effort on it is really pointless. But see what's kind of been a hold-up or gone wrong as a good thing for you to reassess, because usually there's a very good reason behind it, and self-awareness is something that is hard to come by. You know, we're kind of oblivious about our own stuff sometimes because there are lessons that need to be learned. Just kind of, now, you know, I'm going to apologize before I even say this, because I, in particular, hate having anyone tell me this. Resisting all the way. Go with the flow. And know that if something has been held up or interrupted or modified or seems to be totally going in the opposite direction of how you wanted, it's most likely so that you yourself can make the choice that this is not for your highest good. But you know, sometimes the universe just steps in and takes over when we can't seem to see it. So it could be either way. All right, the next card has to do with how you can be grounded, and that card is joy. Find your bliss. If you fetch this card, you're being encouraged to run and jump for joy. You may be noticing or celebrating something that triggers that expansive feeling, making you want to take a leap. You truly are bigger than life, or at least the life you were living before the sudden onset of bliss. You may think you need to have a reason to feel this way, when in fact being in a state of joy comes quite naturally and often for no reason at all. It's fear that temporarily interrupts and restrains your primal instinct to be wild and crazy in love with life. Often the fear is generated by the idea that the feeling won't last, which ironically can make it disappear or become elusive. There simply is no guarantee about the longevity of any feeling, and that is certainly true of joy or bliss. Keep your focus on the present, and that will make it much more likely that you can sustain the feeling of joy for longer periods until one day you may be able to say that joy is where you live most of the time. Yeah. Now, the third card is something positive you can focus on, and that card is leading. Step out in front. If you fetch this card, it means it's time to initiate, facilitate, coordinate, execute, expedite, or otherwise be the dog at the front of the sled dog team instead of following another's lead. Something, someone, or some occasion now demands that you face forward and create your future by being the first to step into it. Oh, I'm going to sneeze, I think. Sorry. When you come to the front of the pack, you're making a choice to take decisive action, often in the face of self-doubt or worry that it may have unpleasant consequences or draw negative attention, be it growls, snarls, or bared teeth. There's no doubt that taking the lead can be scary. Ask any honest leader and he or she will tell you there is often no way around those feelings. On the other paw, leading can provide a lot of freedom and fun when you get to be the one to make the choices and set the course for where you want to go in your own life. And when you earn the kind of trust in your family or group that leads to their loyalty, devotion, and heartfelt contribution, together you can accomplish far more than what you could accomplish being a lone dog. And the last card addresses how you can refocus. That card is guilt. Now, of course, it's not telling you to feel guilt, so you could think of it as reversed. But let's see how we can make it fit the topic. Let's see, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I'm getting there, guys. Sorry. If you fetch this card, it means you've become aware that you haven't done the right thing regarding something you've done or failed to do. Whether the act or harm done was real or perceived, you now have the sense that you've broken some rules, maybe your own. Perhaps you blindly followed a scent nose to the ground that led to decisions and actions for which you now are remorseful. But whatever it is, something is out of alignment between your values and your actions. Guilt is one of the feelings that sets off a useful alarm or sounds a whistle that lets you know you're off track from being your true self. Guilt can show you exactly where to make changes or have more compassion and forgiveness for yourself and others. But there is a danger in wallowing in a muddy pool of guilt, or descending from guilt into a deeper quagmire of shame. Shame is a destructive whip. It strips away the very part of us that believes we're capable of change, convincing us we are simply a bad dog, doomed to endlessly repeat those things that make us feel guilty. So how you can refocus? Drop the guilt. Whatever it is you think you have done, and there's a very good possibility, considering how we tend to beat ourselves up, that really you're feeling guilty about not much at all. But whatever it is, it's past. It can't be changed. So learn from it, make amends if you feel that's necessary, but move on, because holding on to it doesn't do anyone a damn bit of good. It's not like you can go back and pretend whatever it was didn't happen. Move forward, drop the guilt, and let it go. It's probably not the offense you're considering it was anyway. But if it was something terrible and no one would dispute that, learn from it. Learn how you could have done things differently. Learn how you might handle the same situation again in the future. Consider it a lesson, check it off the list, and move forward without hauling the guilt around. Alrighty, that is the end of this pile. I think I said it was 2 at the start, and I apologize. I have done maybe 10 attempts in this pick a card. I don't know why everything has gone wrong, but I apologize if I said pile 2. This is the end of pile 1. If the cards resonated with you, please give the video a thumbs up. Comments are welcome, and of course, also welcome would be if you chose to subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much for stopping by. Bye-bye. I tell you, it has been a day plagued with technical difficulties. I think I've done 8 of these, and all have had some kind of audio problem. I'm not sure what's going on. I'll probably give up if I have some more, because I had to wipe out all 4 of the pile recordings and start again. Oh, goodness. Okay, so if you picked pile number 2, the first card addresses what you're putting too much mental effort into, and look at this, lust. I don't know, can you put too much into lust? I guess you can. That's what Spirit says. Let's see what the card says. If you fetched this card, it may be that you're suddenly smitten with a person, place, or thing you have just sighted or sniffed. You may have no idea why, but you have put all else aside when overcome by the frenzied and elevated feelings of attraction. That shiny object with lust, pun intended, right there in the book, may have grabbed you by the tail and twirled you around and around, and you may have been there before, but you now insist, this time it's different. Really? The idea of forbidden fruit or kibble may heighten feelings of attraction, but this animal-like pheromone-driven pull towards something or someone can actually be fuel for a longer burning fire, a longer-term desire to be fulfilled. It may be the ignition for whatever is to follow. The caution, however, is not to confuse the usually short-term feelings of lust with the sudden delivery of the answer to your dog-eat dreams. Yes, lust in the guise of love at first sight can be real, but often it isn't. It doesn't pan out, and it's not truly what you want and need. Rather, it's a temporary fix, perhaps even an obsession or addiction, covering over what your soul is truly howling for. Lust does not put legs under a genuine search for that which will feed you most truly and deeply. That requires greater discernment, more thinking, and a slower dance than lust may have patience for. All right. So the second card addresses how you can be grounded. And isn't this ironic? Passion. But it's of a different kind, primarily. Do what you love. Kind of funny, though. I mean, ironic. Spirit does have a sense of humor, and sometimes a pretty perverse one, I gotta say. Sorry. Okay, so if you fetched this card today, it means it's time to get clear about what you really love, what matters most, and let that be the life you live. It's time to focus on what would be most ideal for you. Perhaps you've reached a point where the lust for life and zest in living are draining away, and you no longer know what gets you leaping out of bed in the morning. or you have so many balls in the air you're not sure which ones to keep chasing. You may be unsure what will lead to the most satisfaction and to keep you in play, or what will take you further away from what you really love. Passion is what makes life worth living, and living a passionate life is an ongoing process of making decisions based on what gives you the greatest joy, then going out and doing and being more of that. Over time, some of your passions may change while others remain the same, but whatever your passions, they can become your faithful guidance in the dog days of summer, or any season of your year or your life, when you continue to sit up, take notice, and take off after those relationships, creative endeavors, business pursuits, or any other activities that get and keep you salivating. The next card points to something that would be a positive focus. Now, let me point out, this would have to be reversed if you're going to just look at it as, oh, this is something positive for you to focus on. Being a victim, no. Okay, but we can turn this around so it makes sense. It would be to address feeling like a victim. If you fetched this card, it means you're feeling powerless in some aspect of your life, whether in relationship, work, finances, or something else. You may feel trapped or imprisoned. Perhaps you're experiencing or perceiving that someone or something has invaded your turf, taken your toys, or is limiting your life in some way. Regardless of the details, you're experiencing a sense of victimization, most likely trapped inside a doghouse of your own making. Get clear about your needs, wants, and passions. Ah, there's passion again. Are you afraid these won't be met or expressed? Feel the fear. Make decisions and take action anyway. Are you asking for one thing but really wanting another? Be honest and direct with yourself and others. Oh, dang it. I'm sorry. Excuse me for a minute. I'm sorry about that. I have a couple of very old dogs, and if I don't listen to barks, then I end up cleaning up poop from my kitchen floor, and I don't want to. Now, I am not sure where I left off, so I'm just going to finish up with this. Once you realize you have new choices to make, you can choose to run with the same pack or a different one, the victims or the victors. The victors in life are those who model taking 100% responsibility for their own lives, regardless of others or what else is going on in the world. These are the true big dogs you want to run with. And the last card addresses how you can refocus. Resistance. What we resist persists. Oh boy. And ain't that the truth? I'm a living example. If you fetched this card, it means you're either pulling away from or pushing against something important that needs to happen in your life. In some area of life, you're resisting a change, a shift, or a move that either gets you out of your comfort zone or doesn't make sense from your current perspective. As long as you lunge or look away from what's keeping you tethered, you don't have to deal with what's holding the other end of the leash. You might gain temporary relief from the fear of change. However, at some point you'll run out of the energy required to resist change, possibly losing something important, such as your health, an opportunity, or a relationship. Maintaining resistance devours your life energy. Resistance can be a good warning whistle you're ready for a change. You've been howling for it, at least subconsciously. Resistance can be a guide dog when we recognize it for what it is It shows you where in your inner world of thoughts, beliefs, and stories you need updating, healing, or more freedom to be who you really are. When we acknowledge and explore our resistance, we begin to unleash the power to navigate change. We can then take steps toward meeting our deepest needs and desires instead of straining and getting nowhere. And that's it for pile 2. Keep your fingers crossed that the audio will not be messed up again, because probably I am not going to have the patience to keep going, and I'll just scrap this thing. I'm stubborn. I can persevere, but there's a point. So if your cards resonated with you, a thumbs up on the video would be much appreciated. Comments are welcome. And if you'd like to subscribe to the channel, just click on the little pink box in the lower right corner. Thank you. Bye-bye. If you picked pile 3, and fingers crossed the audio is going to work. No, let's not say fingers crossed. Let's just say my intention is that everything will be fine, therefore it will be. The audio will be wonderful. Here are your cards. The first one has to do with what you're putting too much mental effort into. Now, you know, you can't put too much effort into celebrating your victories, so this is going to be considered reversed, and we'll see what the page says and how we can fit that in. If you fetched this card, it means it's time to pause, P-A-W-S, for celebration. Take the time to recognize and reward yourself for the progress you've made on your chosen path. Perhaps the final destination is still off beyond the horizon. Just remember that each forward track in the sand is another marker or milestone, bringing you closer to your goal and deserves to be seen as such. You may believe that you don't deserve anything until you've fully completed a task. So you postpone the joy of celebrating accomplishment until you attain a larger goal. It can be difficult to sustain yourself through self-denial of this kind, especially when the finish line is less clear or seems to keep moving further away. Realize that giving yourself treats along the way can be a big part of what helps to keep you going. After all, it's usually a series of small steps leading you on that make all the difference. Look at all the tricks or tasks you complete each day, each week, and each month, and consciously decide to give yourself plenty of strokes for each job well done. So, what's too much mental effort being put into? Thinking you're not moving fast enough, thinking you're lazy, thinking you're not doing enough, thinking it's such a small thing, when am I going to get the big thing done? You're just not giving yourself credit for the movement that is taking place and the successes that are occurring. So, quit putting all that mental effort into being too hard on yourself and start patting yourself on the back. Even a baby step forward is a step forward. Second card is how you can be grounded. Boundaries. Stay in your own business. Oh boy, boundaries are tough. If you fetched this card, it means you've left your own territory and crossed into someone else's, or you've lost sight of where you are in the world of your own making. Sometimes you friskily bound along, landing in places you might rather not have gone. Or perhaps you've discovered you're not really getting anywhere with some relationship or enterprise. You may be unaware that you crossed a line, or that you purposely crossed it to get someone else's bone or food. You may think you know what's best for others and try to manage their situation, sometimes desperately giving commands and expecting others to roll over. You may be paying the price of giving more attention to someone else and less attention to yourself. What happens when you're in someone else's business and not your own? Two things. No one is left to take care of your business, and that someone else may expect more petting and attention than you really have to give. Or They might bare their teeth to warn you to back off. Boundaries are healthy when each dog knows its place in the team and is pulling its own weight. There's little conflict. It's only a dog-eat-dog world when boundaries are blurred. In that confusion, there's chaos and backbiting. Boundaries are healthy when you know who you are, what you need, what you want, and what you have to give. With that self-knowledge, you can communicate your needs in a clear and respectful manner to those with or without their own well-established boundaries. Marking your own territory is imperative, as long as you keep in mind that others have the same right. From that place of stability and strength, you can pay visits to anyone in your neighborhood with an open, friendly attitude, not as an invader, but as a bearer of gifts. Excuse me. My frog has arrived. Now the third card is a place you can put positive focus, and the card is vulnerability, the strength to show yourself. Well, that's kind of what I do all the time. I guess I'm strong. If you fetched this card, it means you're either already feeling vulnerable and licking wounds, or needing to explore vulnerability, an asset for accessing more abundant energy and better relations. Though vulnerability has been thought to be the opposite of strength, vulnerability itself can be strength when you decide to make yourself more genuinely available to those in your pack who care about you and your well-being. Letting them know how you're feeling and what you might be needing empowers them to give what they can and want to give you. This allows them to fulfill their need to give and serve. You think about how good it feels to help others, to do things for others. If you don't let other people do that for you, you're depriving them of that joyful feeling. So, it's okay to be vulnerable. It shows you're really strong. And the last card is how to refocus. Oh, you're gonna say, oh, it's gonna tell me to meditate, damn it. All right, well, maybe not, but let's see. I don't know what a dog is gonna tell you. Excuse me, I'm wheezing. I gotta clear that out, sorry. Time to restore. If you fetched this card, it means you're in need of time alone to get back to who you really are, apart from this dog-eat-dog world. The yips, snarls, and distractions that keep you from curling up with yourself. Sometimes confused with loneliness, solitude is not about being the lone dog who can't stand being with others in a pack, or the opposite, yearning to be with others in order to lap up more attention. It's about creating a new territory to mark with the activities of self-reflection, introspection, and self-care. Both time and space are needed now for rejuvenation and restoration. Solitude may even be more of an attitude than a special time or place. It might mean simply stretching into your more authentic self with less social stimuli. Solitude may bring you new realizations about your individuality and boundaries. Places where you may have gone unconscious or forgotten where you end and others begin. It's time to sort out your feelings and needs from others and to get clear about what's yours and what's not. If you hear the wild call of solitude, pay attention and figure out how to make it happen. Don't kick the bowl aside, fill it. Now that is pile 3. And if the cards resonated with you, a thumbs up to the video would be much appreciated. Comments are welcome. And if you'd like to subscribe, there's a little pink box at the bottom right-hand corner. Thank you. Bye-bye. So, I missed something here. I'm supposed to start out with that. If I'm feeling a little chipper, I've been learning a lot of lessons lately, and most of them have been very painful, but you know what? the light bulb is starting to come on in many areas for me. And there was a card earlier called Celebrate, about how you need to celebrate your victories. And I'm not letting this lesson stuff kick my ass anymore. I'm just grateful to be moving forward and not, ragging on myself so much about when I stumble and fall. And that's a big progress, so I'm proud of myself. Sorry, just had to say that. Okay, so the first card is addressing how you are wasting your mental effort. Now, it's funny, this first card always comes out where it should be like reversed, but they don't have reversals in this. It's just a matter of how you interpret it. Obviously, you are not wasting your mental effort by asking for help or trying to figure out what your guidance is. But this could be that you're not asking for help, or that you're asking the wrong people for help and not turning to the divine, to your spirit guide, to your angels. Maybe you're just trying to do everything on your own. And I hate to say it, but us trying to come up with our own game plan, sometimes our own guidance is like the doctor being his own patient. It just doesn't work so well because we can't be objective. So I'll turn it back up and we'll see what the book says, but that's my feeling anyway. FG, guidance. If you fetched this card, it means you've lost focus or have arrived at a fork in the road and could use a whistle or a pat to help you stay on track with your dreams, goals, or visions. On your own, it can be easy to lose perspective, steam, or direction. It can be challenging to keep your eye on the ball without a guiding paw to help you along your way. Few, if any, have stayed the course without another to help show them the ropes or the behaviors most likely to lead to desired results. This would be a good time to allow the perfect guidance for you to appear in human, animal, or natural form, recognizing that whatever advice or counsel comes your way may contain at least a shred of truth that could help you gain more clarity, focus, and inspiration. And remember, when you remain open to guidance, you honor a gift that keeps on giving. The universe is unconditional in its support of you when you give it half a chance. The positive results of following good guidance are not only satisfying, they will encourage you to go back to that source of guidance again and again, strengthening you on your unique path of purpose. So don't try to do it all yourself. Don't think you're an island. Maybe you're the kind of person that's always there for everyone else, and now you're kind of in this sticky wicket mess, and there's no one there for you. Been there, done that. Still happens, even though I know better. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable. Let them know you need help. And the people that still won't step up? What's that expression about don't let the door hit you in the ass? I think you know what I'm saying. So the second card is addressing how you can stay grounded. And that card is choice. Get off the fence. And everything in life is a choice, by the way. So see that little chihuahua? He just needs to decide. Does he want to jump on the neighbor's side yard or in his own? Is he up to the new adventure that might come his way if he jumps into the neighbor's yard? Is there a big dog over there he needs to worry about? He may think he's bored in his own yard, but if he comes up against a mastiff or a German shepherd, he's gonna have his oh shit moments, and he knows that. So There's only so long he can stay teetering up there. He's going to have to come down eventually. Let's see what the book says. If you fetched this card, it means you need to make some decision. You're the top dog in your own life, and you have the freedom to choose in favor of your highest interest. Along with that power comes the responsibility to weigh all the factors you're aware of related to the decision, listening to those higher-pitched and less audible sounds of your mind and heart. For some reason, I'm thinking you think you're not aware of all the details and that you're stewing about something you don't actually know, and maybe you've even asked for clarification and been denied it. That sucks. Been there too. You don't want to stray from your truth or be bullied by others as you attempt to arrive at your own best option. Don't be herded or badgered into something that narrows the field. Defend your rights while respecting others' right to choose for themselves. Though making choices is not always easy, you can rejoice that you're the one making them, instead of merely being at the command of others whose choices may or may not serve you. And I personally think it's much better to create our own future and decide where we're going rather than just react to things happening to us. You make it happen. You decide what you want. Create what you want with your thoughts. The third card is meant to show you what would be a positive focus. And there's no reverse here. That's a damn hard one, allowing, but it makes total sense that you would have this as your focus. Because when you have fetched this card, it means there's someone, something, or some event that is wanting to emerge or come into your life, and it's time you allowed that to happen. At some level, perhaps outside your direct awareness, like frequencies too high for you to hear. A development is about to occur that requires you to open up and trust that this is what's most needed in your life now. Allowing means freeing yourself from the leash of resistance and letting your heart bound toward that which will break it open. Meeting it more than halfway so that you can be filled up again. If you're dog tired of the way things have been and still are, it's especially important to drop your defenses and take the critical step of allowing new things to unfold. In other words, stop chasing your tail and get out of your own way. And I tend to think, if it ain't working now, then where is the harm in trying something else? Allow. Open up your heart. Take down that wall, brick by brick. What is it you need to allow into your life? More abundant finances, greater closeness and intimacy, or opportunities for serving others while serving yourself? Whatever it is, the energy you're holding around it is the energy that will either push it away or allow it to happen. Allow yourself to expand into a new field of attraction by being attractive. Ears up and eyes wide open, expecting the next good thing to come along. It could be even better than you imagined. And that's powerful because if you're like me, you're always expecting the next bad thing. All that does is just bring that stupid bad thing your way because that's what you're focusing on. So ask for whatever it is to be for your highest good, and then trust that that is going to be good, as in highest good. All right, enough on my soapbox there. It's just that I'm dealing with this same shit right now. And I say shit because, allowing is not easy for me, but I do understand why it's so important. Now, the last card is how you can refocus. Clarity right under your nose. If you fetched this card, it means you have had blinders on in some part of your life and you are ready to see more clearly. Maybe you've been digging in the wrong hole. Perhaps things have been blurry or fuzzy for some time. And maybe that has served you in some way up until now. Avoiding clarity sometimes feels safer or less threatening. It may mean you don't have to commit to yourself or someone else when you keep things hazy or pretend you don't care about that juicy bone. Now it's time to bring into keener focus where you are, who you are, where you want to go, and what it could look like when you've arrived. Perhaps you're following someone else's seeing eye dog instead of fully taking responsibility for pointing to your own path. Well, that dog won't hunt, at least not for you. You need to find clarity about your own unique passions and purpose and the special paw print you want to leave behind. Because clarity is power. It's first base, and without it you can't run the rest of the bases because you simply can't see them. As you move off the back seat and outside to the bigger bed of the pickup truck, you'll begin to see more of the road ahead and taste more of the excitement, eagerly breathing in the freshness of opportunities lying ahead. And if you're like me, if you're in some kind of limbo state where you're not sure what you want to do because you're waiting on someone else and you've asked for clarity and they're not giving it to you, move on. Put your own priorities first, because if this is meant to be, they'll figure out where you moved on to, and then you get to figure out if you're willing to meet them halfway. And if they aren't willing to come halfway, then screw it. Sorry, but equality, equal contribution is so important, and don't settle for less. Just my 2 cents worth, 1 cent, whatever. Okay, so that's it, pile 4. If your cards resonated, please give the video a thumbs up. And your comments are welcome. If you'd like to subscribe to the channel and have some more of these pick cards from the crazy rambling woman, just click on that little pink box at the lower right corner. I very much appreciate all of you who stopped by, and I want you to know how much I appreciate it. It's just a tiny little channel, but each time I see the number go up on my subscriptions, it's like someone just handed me the world. And why not? Why not be happy about that? It's exciting to me. All right, guys, sorry. Ramble, ramble, ramble. Take care. Bye-bye.